Just so we're clear on this, this is for the front bumper of the E-Type, my little Winston, and this little piece here on both sides that holds on this front bumper, this bit goes between the body and the metal, and then this bolts in from the metal back through. This is the bumper overrider for the left-hand side of the E-Type. You'll see on the inside, this bolt here bolts it to the main bumper, and then these two little bolts here hold on the little section that goes down to the motif bar. So I've got the right side front bumper of the E-Type, and there's a little clip on each end, and that holds the rubber on from falling off when you put the new rubbers back on the car. Just looking at this rear bumper on the E-Type, there is one small retaining bolt just underneath here that holds it on at the back. Anyway, that's what comes out of the back of this inside the wheel arch, and the other two have just got nuts. So when they're off, obviously the bolt goes through the other side of here, and the other two just sit on top of this. Okay, this is Winston, and I'm just taking off these chrome strips from around the headlights. They just tuck underneath here, and then the other one tucks under that side. And there's some little rivets here that sit, and these push on top of the rivets to hold them in place. A lot of people say to actually use screws instead of rivets and just shape the screw, so we'll look into that. And also there should be a rubber underneath here to seal the chrome on properly. So the shorter piece goes on the left side, and the longer piece sitting up there goes on the right side. And then this little bit holds the two chromes together, sits in there, screw hole there, and it's the same for the other side as well. The beading, we've got a screw to take out the beading, and we'll have a look at what's underneath that. And here I can't get this off without taking the headlight out. So, okay, back to Winston. This is the beading that sits on top of the bonnet. This tucks under here. There's a screw, flathead screw here. That's the only thing that holds it on. This then pops out, and it's only siliconed on. You can see the silicone here, so siliconed on in dubs, and it will just pull off. So here we go. Just put some silicone in this gap in dubs, and that should seal it. At the end, down near the headlight, there is a screw hole just here. So we need to line that up with a screw hole in here when we fit it, and then silicone it on. Back to Winston, taking the headlights out so I can get the speeding off. This just prises up, sits in these grooves here behind. Sits in here, just clips in. There are two screws, one here, that one's still in. Undo those, this just pops forward. And then there should be two screws, but here there's only one holding on the speeding. So we take that off, and that front chrome that holds the speeding down will come with it. Back here at Winston, looking to get the chrome off and looking to get the little top chrome that holds the bonnet beading down. These little surrounds, they just prized off. They were just sitting behind here. And then we've got 1, 2, and then I've tried 3, but 3 down here. It's full of these little screws. They hold this bucket in when they're undone. And all these undone, this just pulls out, and now you can get access to the wiring, the housing. Just disassemble that light if you need to, which we will do. There we have it. Going back to the headlights, and this is the passenger side, the left-hand side. Once you've undone all these bolts, this rubber just comes off. This one looks in pretty good condition, so I might keep that one and use that one. And then you just have to unhook the rest of this. It looks like these just come out. And that should, there's one here as well. Looks like those adjust the angle of the headlight, but then it should allow the whole headlight to come out. There's only two of them. Now we've got this headlight out and we're looking at these holding screws that change the angle. This is Lucas headlight. Lucas the right way up. This one at the top takes it up and down, and this one on the side will move it out towards the middle of the road, so you don't point it too much at the other cars. Just taking the front left-hand side indicators off. It's held on with 3 bolts, flathead, like this, 1, 2, and 3. 3, and then there's just a flathead screw here holding it on, small bulb at the front, and large bulb at the back. Back to this turn signal, I've taken the bulbs out, and the connectors are just these. The bulb just screws in against them. They won't come out either way because these casings are welded on, so I'm just going to cut the wire and then reattach it with hinge shrink and solder when I put it all back together. And there's also a reflector here. I'll see if it comes out, but if not, that's just going to get re-chromed when I rechrome all of these original parts. Back on Winston, right side front turn signals, and there's actually 2 scrolls holding it on, so the left one was obviously missing one. I'll do a better job than whoever did this last time and make sure they're fitting correctly. Right side turn signals of the E-Type. I have just been looking inside because I found this. So obviously these 2 are the turn signals, not what I thought before with the black wire. And if you look inside here, you'll see that connector. So 3 holes to take 3 wires from the headlight. And when you actually look at the headlight, it just pulls out with these 3 wires attached, as you can see there. So they obviously have to go into the little receptacle, and the whole headlight comes out. So theoretically, this one should then just pull out, and it does. What a surprise! There we go. We're at the back of this E-Type now, and the chrome around this number plate, it just pulls off. So that all needs to just be pulled off. And then the turn signals have got 2 Phillips head screwdrivers, and so is the reversing light. In here we've got, for the reversing lights, we have got 1 straight edged. Just take it off the rear left-hand turn signals and lights off the path. All the wires were disconnected. The left-hand side bulb has just got 1 wire attached to it, so I'm hoping that's alright. The middle one has got 2. All the wires are obviously being pulled back through there. We'll deal with that when we can. So that middle light bulb, 2 wires, blue and red, and then the left-hand one. And this spongy thing sits on the middle and gets itself cut out inside. Just looking at these rear turn signals, and Where the bulbs are, down the end here, there's two little screws. That's it. If you undo those, you'll find this is just a reflector and it pops right out. Looking at these rear turn signals on the E-Type, they are held onto the body with 3 bolts. The 2 big bolts go here and the shorter bolt goes on the end. This is the number plate light for the E-Type jack, and quite simply this is held onto the body with 2 screws, and this places on top. Okay, so the screws go in those holes and hold that. This little metal casing that sits on the end, and then this piece of chrome sits over the top like that, and 1 bolt holds that to the body. Okay, so let's take it apart. So you take the screw out here, this comes off, this will then pull away. Under the 2 screws, this will then come off, and then this will come out, and there's only 1 wire connecting that, and hopefully it will then accordingly. Just looking at the reverse light, the housing unbolts with 2 bolts inside the boot. That will release the housing, and the wiring is obviously here. And then we come to here, and we have the cover go on there, and then there's just 2 bolts holding that on top of the cover to hold that in place. Here we are back on the E-Type working on the left-hand door. I'm looking to remove this trim. To get it, you need to take off this little door handle first, and it comes with, held in with one of these little Phillips head screws. And then also we have the window winder that sits up here as a piece of chrome trim that goes underneath it, and that's just a Phillips head screwdriver as well. Now, of these 3 screws that are holding it in, and note the angle it actually sits at, it goes up at an angle. There are 2 shorter ones, and then there's this much longer one. This longer one goes in the top hole here, and behind it sits a spacer, and the spacer sits in here like that, and there's a hole into the door right there. Screw goes through, the spacer holds it in place, and then when you take these off, this whole thing comes away. You'll see it's in 2 parts. This is the chrome trim, going to get that re-chromed, and then this metal, I presume is part of the door card. This door card obviously is totally disintegrated, and then when that comes off, this little insert should just pull out. Just coming back to this door insert, there are actually 2 more screws right here that hold this pad in, and then it will just come off. One's missing, so there's actually 4. 1 over here, these 2, and then I'm presuming 1 in there that is missing. Although that is probably not, no, there's only 3, because that is for the door card to go in. So 1, 2, and then that one under there, 3. Okay, I'm on the passenger door. Look at that beautiful paintwork. What were they thinking? Just going to take off this door trim. There's a little screw that goes in here, and a little screw that goes in here. They're just these little guys, and then there we have it. This is the chrome trim that goes on the top of the door there, just above the door handle. I'm going to need some new rubbers. They're just held in by these little clips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they just pinch on between the metal and the rubber. So might need some new ones, but that's how it works. Just looking at this chrome here on the window, it's held in by this piece of metal here, and 2 bolts, 2 bolts, 2 bolts. Under each one there's a little hole, and you have to put these little panels in, and then the bolts go through and into here, and that clamps it in place. So you just have to make sure those go back in. If they fall, you can get them down at the bottom holes. But there's one of these for the middle, one of these for each end. That's how they go. I want to take the glass out. There's a little screw hole here. If you lower the window down all the way, there's a screw in there, and that looks like this. Once you've done that, the window will come right up above the door lights. That screw actually holds it from going too high. Once the window is right up above, all you do is pull this corner here, and that corner will release, and the glass will come out. It's got to pop off this little bracket here, so when you put it back, it has to sit behind that bracket, but that's how the glass comes out. Just looking at this window frame, this rubber just pulls out. Okay, back on the passenger door side of the E-Type, I'm looking to take out this chromed window runner. There's 2 bolts, one here and then one here, and then there's 2 small screws. There is one just there, and then one is here on the other side. There's a screw, small little screw. There's 2 of those holding it in. This bolt on this side, and then a nut comes off the bolt on that side. And then, because I've already taken these little holders, they should all just pull out. Just back onto this passenger door, the frame's out, the glass is out, the trim's off. The trim that goes around the door handle, which obviously connects to here, 2 of the 3 screws actually hold on this door mechanism. So when you're putting it back together, make sure these are lined up so the 2 screws can go through there. And the 3rd screw holds this on. It's like a brace. There's another screw there. I won't bother taking that off. I'm just going to stand past it like that. But that's where the 3rd screw goes. This is a bit of strengthening. There's obviously a hole in the screw there for the mechanism that goes on. Oh, that's where the spacer goes. So the spacer for that piece of chrome trim that comes down at an angle, that's where the spacer goes and the screw goes through. So that's how it looks. There's a holding bolt for the chrome frame, and there's the other side there. This is the right hand door of the E-Type, and this is actually intact, so you can see how it's meant to fit. These are riveted by the look of it, or maybe small screws. That's definitely a rivet. I'm thinking of changing that to a small screw just so it can come in and out easier. Flathead screw. This is the right hand door card of the E-Type. I found one of these plates over the left side as well, and all they're doing, they're riveting it on and they're covering up the bolt to be able to take out this frame. So I'm just going to take this off, and I don't think I'm going to bother putting it back on again. I don't know why it's there. Just a note on these trims where the door handle goes, the opener goes, which is here, and this is where the spacer goes for the door trim. And I need to, oh, there's the spacer, I've still got it. Anyway, these are just stuck on. These are all just glued on the top, and then the 3 screws on the bottom, but mainly they're just glued all the way around. So I think what we have to do is just put the screws in, and use the double-sided 3M on it. Now I've got this trim off, I can see that there's a screw here, plus those 2 screws down here. That's what holds this on. The backing is actually stuck down. This then places over and is screwed into place with the 1, 2, 3 screws. And that's how it goes. Just in case I struggle to find that screw to hold the window in place, it's tucked back here. So you can see that on this right hand, the door regulator is sort of a little bit up, and it's tucked right here. You'll find it just behind this door lock mechanism. Just removing this chrome window frame here, and I've noticed on the right hand side, they've actually got some little wedges in there. So I've got to remember to put those back. There's two here, one with each screw. So I've got to remember to put those back. I'm going to start taking the roof off. The beading seems to be just held on with some flathead screws. So we can start there, see how these are connected, and move to the inside. Okay, the chrome strip is off. Now we've got these little metal wood brackets. Keep it down. There's two on each side. Two there, two over there. They're just held on by little screws. So they flap under the come on, flap, and our screw in. Okay, the fittings are off. Just need to take the rest off and tack it in by the look of it. Everything is just tacks. So I'm inside the car looking to take the roof off. I've undone all the tacks on the back, that's all free. We've got a few bolts here. The hardware is all held on just with nuts. So it looks like the bolt there and the bolt there that holds the frame on, and then the chrome strip on the outside is held on by these two, and then the frame is only attached at certain points. So these look like they're attached to the body. That one, I don't know what it is, it's open out. So if I take these off and then undo the screws and the two bolts on both sides, that should free the roof. I think I'm going to take the chrome strips off first, these bits. Take those off first, undo them, and then release the frame. Or not. Anyway. Note how the frame is put together. There is a little V here. This junction is on the outside of the V. This junction is on the outside of the in one. And then the top one joins over here. Come round the corner. This one is joined to the main bar that attaches to the car here. It's joined here to the little bar next. I don't quite know how this would attach. We'll look at that one. Okay, now we have this trim out. You'll see this is the left-hand side. Just it's through here, goes through here and bolts the whole assembly to here. So this goes over the top, and the right one will obviously be the opposite. So through this little bracket here and onto there, and this bracket is held on by this. There is actually behind it, there's a nut, so you need to go from the outside and you hold onto that nut and then remove it, and then this whole section will just, this whole section here will just come off. You can see it hinges. So the little bracket, the trim bracket, goes over the top and through into these holes, and this is where see this threads, and there's just two bolts holding it up. Just looking at the seats, this is the left-hand seat where it bolts in. There at the front it wasn't connected, but obviously it bolts through here, or sits on there. And the back, there's actually some spaces that sit underneath, and then it just bolts into the chassis. This is for the driver's seat, or the left-hand seat of my car. Obviously those bolts at the front, these ones here, I don't need to take those out, except for to do the carpets, because you actually hook the front of the seat on here and then bolt the back of the seat down. That's how that works. I have boxed some little bolts up, and I've called them the triangular section of the roof, which I am calling this bit. There's 2 bolts, one on each side, and when it goes up, it's sort of like a triangle at the bottom. This is it lying back at the moment, so that's how they'll be labelled. Just taking the hardware off the roof. Note where the tilt seats first sign is. This is the hardware to connect the front. Note which way it's up. So when you connect it, the hook needs to be at the top, and there's 2 sizes of bolts. The short ones go at the bottom. I'm calling this the bottom, near the big catch, and the longer ones go at the back. All the little studs that hold on the boot cover when the hood's down, they all just unscrew. They're little short ones. 6 in total. These little studs, they hold the boot cover on, 3 different sizes. The short one goes here on this metal. The medium sized one goes here, and then the longest one goes in the back. Okay, the roof's off the car. I'm going to take this part of the frame off. This appears to be 2 bolts holding it on. Okay, this is the front part of the hood, where we had that little black trim piece attached to it as well. The bolt that was on there, that's the one I had to grab hold of at the back. And when you take this off, you'll know there's a washer in between the 2 parts. So the bolt goes through from this side, then a washer, then the piece, and if you see the angle of the frame, this piece goes on with the spigot pointing down, and the unpainted portion, well, it will be painted, but going up, and then a washer and a bolt. Let's look at the chrome on the top of the windscreen. It's a large chrome top, and it looks like it's going to be screws holding this on the side. So where the stripping will come down here, and that's here as well, cut out the door. And these screws are missing, so I'm hoping just to take out this top screw here. Just look at this chrome strip, taking that screw out, but there's actually one here as well. And the sun visors come into here, this bolt at the bottom. That's it, one piece that comes across with this top. So if I undo this, it should release from this section. I'll do that, it should allow the frame to go free. Just undone this nut here and this nut here on the top of the windscreen corner. When you lift this off, this is the bracket that holds on to the sun visor. It goes on there. So I think when I put it back, I'll connect this first, tighten it up, and then drop this down and tighten it on onto here. Now that I've undone this bolt here and the one on the side holding on the sun visor, this just works its way free, like so. And there was definitely meant to be a screw in here, because there's one there, and I think that's it. But I'm definitely going to put a screw back in these holes when I finished. Yeah, there was one in here. So I'm definitely going to put these screws back when I reattach the screw. Now you can see that this chrome here is going to screw what we did. I think if I take this top bead out, this will just come away. What I've done the other one. Just as a note on these windscreen top pillars, little trim pieces, there is a flat head screw that goes in the top, and then the one that goes in the side is slightly rounded. That goes in the side of here. So flat head screw in the top and rounded screw in the side. Now I've released this end of the sun visor and the little bracket on the top. Come across here to the middle, and it looks like they're both just held in with flathead screws. They'll come off, and hopefully this top trim will just pull off the top of the windscreen. Okay, sun visor's out now. Worth noting that these ends, they just pull out. This one pulls out just